having this interaction with a shark, and it swam at me, and I hit the shark, but it still like scraped all the stuff on my forehead. I've always been pretty good at having good perspective and like seeing the big picture, and this tiny percent of people made a career out of it, and this larger percent of people left with some brain damage and some good stories.
What is up, everybody?
How was the flight, man?
It was good. I literally just got out of the shower.
We're so glad you put a shirt on.
That's how we're cutting it close.
Ooh.
No,
Did you even wash your face? Because your beard doesn't look like wet.
What?
I was like, where's she going with this?
If you took a shower, wouldn't it?
You dry it, is what you do.
Do you not dry your hair when you get out of the shower, Vex?
It takes a long time.
Well, you get
How
a
long
lot
does
more
your
hair than he
mustache
does.
take to dry?
How long? I mean, at least 2 days.
All right. So, yes, just getting in. My flight did get delayed, but we made it.
Again?
Yeah.
Well, I figured because I saw that you're like, oh, I just landed. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I feel like that's a little bit later than expected.
Yeah, it
Flight's
was.
been brutal.
Yeah. Well, I sat on the tarmac for a total of an hour. We sat there for 30 minutes, one flight, 30 minutes, another flight. It was beautiful weather. Absolutely no reason. We just sat there. So,
Dumb.
But it reminds me of that bit Louis C.K. used to do about how everything's great and no one's happy.
Can we allowed to talk about him?
Are we? Oh yeah. Has he been canceled sufficiently?
I don't know. He was canceled like so many years ago. I didn't know if he had gotten redemption or not.
Is he coming back?
Everyone's forgotten about that.
Not anymore. I
know what it
brought
was
it back.
Brought it back up. So anyway, he does this bit about how everything's great and no one's happy because, people get off a flight and it's like they've gone across the U.S. It's like, oh, it was a terrible flight. Never mind that they just sat in the chair flying through the air.
Right.
Getting to their destination.
They didn't get dysentery while they
I
were
was just
doing
about to
that.
say the same. Nobody died of dysentery. So we're all good. We're all good.
Listen, I did the Oregon Trail. I know what it's like.
And you survived.
And
Nice.
I survived.
And we're happy about that, Bex. We are so glad to have you here, dysentery free.
Mm-hmm.
Me too.
Speaking of,
My biggest
has nothing to do with
achievement in life.
dysentery, but I'm very intrigued by the guest.
Oh, is their name dysentery?
What did they put as their
Dolphin trainer?
Interesting.
Yeah.
I have to ask about that one.
Are they involved with the Miami
It's
Dolphins?
like the game Clue, right? You guys get to ask questions.
Yeah, now I'm curious. I feel like if they put like cat herder, I would think they were a real estate coach of some sort, but maybe that's kind of like dolphin trainer as well. Like, let's see if we can.
Dolphins are mean though. Like, have you guys ever had like
supposed to be
face-to-face interaction with dolphins?
I have, and they were super nice.
No, they're fucking mean.
What dolphins have you interacted with?
No, I swear to God, they're worse. Like, if you see sharks and dolphins, go towards the sharks.
What? Florida dolphins are
dolphins
different than the Washington Dolphins.
Yeah, no, don't believe all the hype.
With the dolphins.
Yeah, they were thinking about how to kill you.
Maybe
They just didn't act on
issue.
it. They're terrible.
I summon all of the animals like a Disney princess.
This is what happens when we don't do a show for a few weeks.
It devolves.
I'm like, how do I talk? I don't know.
I'm sitting here with all of my drinks, and every time I pick one up and put it down, it's like super loud. I'm like, why is everything in my office so loud?
Get that hot mic. Hot mic. Who did the guest today?
The first guest is me.
Yay.
Second guest is Bex, I think.
Yep.
Okay.
So our guest today is, I have no idea about the dolphin trainer bit. Maybe that's just to throw us off because it's throwing me off. I don't know about the dolphin trainer.
That's awesome.
And here's the thing. We're going to cut this short because I just want to get into it.
Okay.
But here's what they said for me to use as a teaser. Although I think this may tip Ray off. They wanted us to know that they are an expert in early Arkansas pirate settlements.
What?
So without further ado, here's our guest, Mr. Tim Macy.
Oh, Tim Macy. Oh my God.
Yeah, early pirate settlements in Arkansas.
This guy.
That's like so far inland.
Yeah, see, not a lot of people know this, but see, they initially settled in Kansas, but then they didn't like it in Kansas, so they moved north and settled Kansas.
It's ridiculous. It's his joke. I don't claim it.
I feel like Tim is making.
Way to start the show, Tim.
That was awesome.
It's like, I'm a dolphin trainer and I deal out lies.
I didn't even see it coming either. I was like, wait, did they really do that? I mean,
no, he does have it. I happen to know a lot about this particular, and he has it out for sharks. I can tell you that.
Well, what was funny was Rick says, "Hey, can you give me like some interesting facts about you that people won't know?" And I'm like, "Ray knows everything." Like he just,
you couldn't. There's very little you could say about the Tim Macy that I wouldn't know.
I feel like I'm
because I'm
Ray
such a
my
fan of his show.
3 times. Yeah.
I'm a big fan of the Tim Macy show. That's why.
It's going through a resurgence.
Yeah. Speaking of Tim, bringing it back.
We got some good guests. We've had some good interviews, and I think like you guys know, doing a podcast is, I think it's about having fun first. So making sure you're having fun with what you're doing, and I'm having a ton of fun with the people we've been interviewing, and so I think it's gonna go all right.
So why'd you let it die the first time?
The hard-hitting questions.
Yeah, let's grill the Tim.
It's like my pet rabbit when I was in high school. Like I was like, I want a rabbit, and I got a rabbit, and we got the whole enclosure and all that stuff, and then kind of forgot about it and went to college and left it with my parents. Like I'm really great at starting things and letting them die. It's my specialty.
Do you have ADHD, Tim?
There's literally a squirrel outside my window. I'm not kidding you.
Right now.
Right now, at this moment. Yes, I do.
That's the answer we needed.
Did the rabbit make it?
No.
Rick needs the end of the story.
His parents were like, you know what? Tim's not taking care of it. Neither are we.
Well, I mean, it's Connecticut. It gets cold in the winter,
Rabbits do.
Not a great rabbit place.
Most people think you're from Texas, Tim. But that is a lie.
Yes, no, I am originally from New England, and then I was a transplant in Texas. I was stationed down here for a little while. That's where the dolphin trainer thing came from, because when you're in the Air Force and people ask you what you did, you like to make up some random thing. Be like, you a pilot? I'm like, no, I'm a dolphin trainer.
I used to tell them I played the triangle in the Navy band.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
Which is an important role to ding. Yeah, it's good.
Timing's everything.
Okay, so when you say that you had to tell people that you were something other than being in the military, was this just because you didn't want to tell people you were in the military, or the military said you can't actually reveal your real role?
No, I didn't do anything that cool.
Tim didn't have one of those roles.
Yeah, like they always tell you like, oh, make sure you don't tell people what you do and da 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 da. So I was kind of following the rules, but mostly just being an idiot.
I didn't know that was a real thing.
You didn't know OPSEC was a real thing?
Well, everyone that I know that's in the military, I know they're in the military. I'm assuming.
Yeah. But you probably don't know exactly what they do, where they do it, and when they do it.
That's true.
You shouldn't anyways.
Yeah.
Let's see.
If you do, they have very poor OPSEC.
They're going to get fired.
They're like, yeah, dude, I was in Afghanistan last week, and this guy, like, yeah, no, that's
we're deploying on the 10th, and we're going. Yeah, it's not going to go well.
Well, then you know that actually they didn't do any of those things. They're just telling you fake things.
Yeah.
That's also a good way to pick up on the stolen valor. What an interesting concept.
Does that kind of stuff bug you, Tim?
Like personally, I don't really care. Like if somebody has something going on in their life that they have to make up these things in their head, like, I don't know, person's got to be in a weird place. I don't really care that much, but I do understand my fellow service members who get pretty fired up about it. I get where they're coming from.
Do you feel like that's something that has become more common recently with social media, or are we just like more aware of it now because of social media?
Yeah, well, that's been around forever. People telling crazy World War II stories that they didn't actually take part in. Like I feel like that's been around forever. It's just a lot easier to call people out now.
Gotcha. So what is it about men who like feel this need to tell fish stories constantly?
About men. Oh my gosh. Man. Yeah, because women never lie.
No. I mean, how many women do you see getting caught with stolen valor? Or be like, I did this war and like make it.
Well, it may not be stolen valor, but you're showing up without a bunch of filters that you once had. You could say that's a bit of a.
Did you hear that noise? That was all of our female viewers just.
I know, it's just turning it off.
Gone. The two that we had.
I think the military is an interesting thing. Like I think, there's a part of the population that grows up reading books about the military and reading about special operations, and they get very enthralled in it, and then they don't really have what it takes to participate, but they love it, and I think that's how they end up wearing a uniform with a bunch of crazy ribbons on it.
I mean, that was part of the fun of the Army surplus store back in the day.
Yeah.
Showing all the cool stuff, you know.
That's why
Rick, it still is.
It was like, that's why paintball is such a big deal. Have you seen some of these guys like on these TikTok videos?
Yeah.
I mean,
Airsoft.
they're hardcore. Yeah, they are hardcore.
Have you seen the new virtual reality versions of this? It's funny. So you know how paintball, they're in an arena, right? Mm-hmm. And they have all these inflatable things around them. And you have the paintballers start at one side and another paintball group starts at the other side. Picture that scenario. Indoors, everybody's wearing goggles, and there's nothing in the middle of them. Okay. So they see it. I'm going to see if I can find a clip of this.
Are they just like
they see it in the virtual reality? They see the obstacles and they see what they're hiding behind and, you know, shooting around, all that kind of stuff. But all the spectators just see people acting like there's stuff in the middle. It is crazy looking.
I have a clip. Like I just did this in Switzerland. They have one of those places.
You did this?
Yeah. And like, you know, it was supposed to rain that day. So we brought the family over there. And I mean, it was hilarious because I'm like ducking behind a wall that's not there, like jumping around, trying to like peek around the thing and smash my 8-year-old in the head with the. I mean,
that's amazing
just for the game. For the game,
yeah,
for the game.
Memories.
Yeah, it's always
friendly competition. But yeah, it's amazing. I want to figure out how to put one in my house.
So, are you like you're moving around that room, thinking that you're hiding behind obstacles, or you have like a little box area and like a treadmill that you're?
No. You're moving around a room, and there are walls in front of you that you can hide behind, and you can come out of, and like walls to go in that aren't actually there. It's interesting.
It's just a big empty room.
Multiplayer VR game.
So when I play Oculus here in my house, like the tracking on it is glitchy as hell. How do they manage to get that many people in one big open space and the tracking is accurate enough where you can play a game? That's crazy.
They have better technology than what you have at your house.
Apparently, this is Zucks. Zucks made my thing. I mean, come on.
Well, did you guys ever do the Void? When the Void was a thing?
The Void.
So it was at a couple locations, and you know me, I always go to Disney World, and they had one there, and I may have gone a couple times. I'm a weird Disney adult. I don't know if that's a topic, but anyways,
that's a thing.
It's a thing. But that was full on suit you would wear in interactive rooms, and so like I could touch R2-D2 and press buttons on them and like shoot stormtroopers out the window. But they had built this whole environment, and then in VR, you interacted with it. It was ridiculous.
I think I may have done. I don't remember wearing like a full-on suit though.
It was like a big vest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I wish that was a longer experience. It was definitely kind of cool.
Yeah.
But downtown Disney in the Orlando area, they started off like doing a lot of the VR stuff, and that was really, really cool. And I really enjoyed it. But the lines were always super long, which
way
is
better than whatever Rick's got in his living room.
Oh yeah.
It's on a whole nother level. I'm trying to find, I found one picture. It's a black and white room that these people are in. I'm going to see if I can find the video of it, but it's pretty hilarious looking. Especially if you start to put it to other music. I'm sure it's going to be a meme pretty soon. Like, you know,
I'm gonna peruse my
Benny Hill
right here. I got you up on text, so I may just be able to text it to you.
Oh yeah, that'll work. So you said you were going to put one of these in your house. How much space do you need, Tim? Have you actually researched it and looked into it, or is this just the one day?
It's kind of like my podcast. Like
you're gonna get a new toy, and then
I'm gonna research it. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna build a second structure in my backyard. I'm gonna install it. I'm gonna play it 4 times, and it's just gonna sit there.
I found a picture of the room, but that's all I got so far. So
Ray, send me a text.
You have my phone number.
No, I know, but I need it to pop up on my laptop so I can send you it.
Okay, can someone explain to me? I know this is like off topic, but like I'm new to the Apple products and I don't understand why none of my contacts come over onto my Mac screen.
Oh, you have to put it in your cloud.
But the text messages are there, right?
We can do tech help later.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, we don't want to do that on the podcast.
Let's not
make
use
that like
the podcast.
Interactive content.
We can do tech support during the 30-minute break.
I'm here for it. You guys know Samir, the One Real Mortgage guy?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, mine did not look that cool.
This is what I'm saying. This is the room. It's a black and white room. You have these guys with the goggles on. I wish I could read what their goggles said, so maybe I can find the actual thing. They have a backpack and like a blaster of some sort. And this is their arena that they play in. It's like a paintball arena, except there's nothing in the middle. So they're trying to figure out how to do almost like a holographic overlay so that as people watch it, they could kind of see around stuff, but they haven't quite, we're not there yet.
Well, they have the screens where you can see what they're seeing on their thing.
Yeah, you could put them on the screen, but the real experience is watching these people run around and like there's nothing there.
I do that with my wife when she does what is the saber?
Oh, the
Beat
lightsaber
Saber?
music game.
Beat Saber. I'll put it up on the big screen behind her, and me and Olivia just sit there and giggle because she
Is
looks
she good at
ridiculous
it?
doing it. Is she good in it? Yes, she is pretty good. Better than me.
I'm just so into this virtual reality now. There's meet spaces that have virtual reality rooms around the country now.
Meat
These are
spaces?
in
Like
this
for
one's in
meetups, not
London.
meat.
Oh, I'm like imagining a meat locker.
Oh my god. No. Not that kind of meat. Jeez.
All right, Tim, what were the decisions in your life that led to you becoming a Disney adult?
That is a good question.
Just like grab the shovel, start digging. So
Pull his heart out and show it to him.
yeah. So I don't know. Like I grew up boxing my whole life. So my whole life revolved around sports as a kid.
Okay.
Like every day I'd go to the boxing gym. And then if we had baseball season, I'd play baseball after school. Like all my life was with sports. And 2 times, I think, or 3 times that we went to Disney World. And it was like, holy crap. Like this is fun. So it was like this memory for me as a kid. And then my dad had a troubled, interesting life. And I had an interesting relationship with him, but he always told me that his favorite memory in life was pulling up to Disney World and us looking out the window and just being like so excited to be there. He told me that was my favorite memory when he passed away in 2016, right after I got married to my wife. We didn't have any money. I don't know like how we did this, but I had this big thing. I wanted to bring my dad and like our whole family back to Disney World because I knew that was always his favorite thing. So we took the whole family, like my parents, her parents. We had one nephew in the mix, but it was almost like a grown-up trip down. And we did that. And then after then, it was just like, I don't know. It was like been our thing. But go to Disney World.
Didn't you propose there?
I did. You know what was funny too was I thought that was like an original idea. like I didn't we were 20.
What was your
21.
backup idea? The Jumbotron at the game? The other
that's a pretty good
idea?
I was 21 when I asked my wife to marry me. So like we didn't have friends that had gotten married. You know, we didn't have much to go off of. And I'm like, man, we're going to Disney World. Why don't I pop the question there in front of the castle? How great will that be? And so we do it and it's great. And we did it like at the end of the night. The park was closed and I snuck in. Everybody's walking out and we're walking down to the castle. It starts raining, right? I should have canceled the thing. And I'm like, all right, come on. Just put down on one knee, pop the question. Now the raining becomes romantic instead of annoying. And I'm like, dude, I am the most original human in the world. And then 2 days later, we're at the park and, take a picture from the castle. And I see like 4 people propose. I'm like, what the hell?
That's amazing.
But it wasn't in the rain.
It wasn't in the rain.
You got them there.
That's where I thought the story was going. I thought you looked up and you saw like 2 other couples getting engaged.
I know, right?
No, but I was so annoyed. I had 2 days where I felt like I had pulled off something really original. And those were a great 2 days.
Shouldn't have gone back.
Best 2 days of his life.
Best 2 days.
Downhill from there.
And then you got bit in the head by a shark.
I don't want to talk about that.
Wait, did that actually happen?
It's just.
Can't you see his
like
face?
I don't know if you've ever noticed I've got this scar. Can you see it now? It goes from here.
Yeah.
And it kind of goes up the hairline here. I've had some good surgery to like clean it up, but it's still in the eyebrow.
That's why the eyebrow does the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's why people call him Jaws.
It's always because I'm always yapping, but
I don't know if any of this is real. I mean, obviously the scar is real, but the 2 of you are liars.
This is phenomenal.
Well, I've told Brad I don't like talking about it, and he always brings it up. I'm like, dude, it's a traumatic experience from my childhood,
Rebecca doesn't know whether she should.
So.
I don't know.
Yeah, no one knows.
Okay, so I want to hear the story, even if it is traumatic. But if you really don't want to talk about it, then you should have put that on the list of things that you didn't want to talk about
about
before
your
the
trauma.
podcast.
Much of a get out of jail free card. Like somebody's like, I had a traumatic experience. I
Not
don't
with-
enjoy talking about it.
We talk about anything and
Like,
everything here.
Not with
No,
Matt.
Does not care about your trauma
She's gonna dive in
at all.
even more.
Yeah.
This is
God.
your last chance. You can say
Okay.
no. I
All
don't
right.
want to.
All right. No.
This
So
is
here's the
real,
deal.
random.
I was a freshman in high school, and I was going to this new school. So like I had all my friends in middle school, and then I like went my freshman year to this new school, and like I wasn't doing well. Like I never did well in any of my classes, and I had this English class with this English teacher, and like when you're looking back, like at the teachers that you really hated, and now you're an adult, you're like, they were probably really nice humans. I was just a little prick, right? Like that's how I think back. I think, Mrs. Pacheco, I think was like a really great person. I just couldn't schmooze her and, never did my homework, all that other fun stuff. So anyways, I'm failing this class or I got a D in it or something. It's not good. And I got to write a personal narrative. That's like my final assignment of the year. The one thing I have to ace to like try to pass this class. So I write this story about being at my grandparents' house in Pensacola and swimming out into the water by myself on a cool morning and having this interaction with a shark, and it swam at me and I hit the shark, but it still like scraped all the stuff on my forehead. And then I had the surgery and everything, and like I'll never forget it. It changed my life. And so I had this like long hair thing going on when I was in high school. And so I'm like, hey, I need help with my thing because you got to stay after class to schmooze to try to get a better grade. And so we're going through the paper. And she's like, Tim, I was looking for a personal narrative. Like, this is a really great story. You told a great story, but I want you to tell something that happened to you. And then I just pulled my hair back. And at the time, the scar was like way worse.
Mhm.
She goes,
Hey.
boom, done, right? And so I lied once. Like I lied one time to my teacher to pass a class. But what happened was I just kept finding myself in this predicament every year of getting a bad grade and needing to pull something out to get a good grade. And so I used that in my freshman year. I like made a video about it my junior year. It was like my senior thesis. And then I get to college.
Gosh.
I'm like, right.
This is amazing.
He proposed to his wife.
Yeah.
This
No.
story.
So what's funny is I would tell the story. Now everybody knew the story. And most of the people I was friends with just knew that I got bit in the head by a shark.
Oh, wait, they still thought it was real.
Oh yeah, 1,000%. And
Oh,
so
gosh.
I would be at a party. It'd be like 2 a.m. Everybody's drinking, and they're just enthralled because I got pretty good at telling this story. Like I would have the room would be silent. They'd be listening about how I turned and saw the shark again. It reappeared, and as it swam at me, I didn't know what to do. So my instinct was to try to punch it on the nose. And I remember not wanting to pee myself because the shark would smell it. Like I had detail.
Very detailed. Very
the detail
detailed.
of the story was, but then there would always be one person that wasn't a complete idiot, and they'd be like, I don't believe you. Total crap. And so I would call my mom. My mother is a saint. And it'd be like,
this is amazing.
it'd be like 1, 2 in the morning, landline. She'd pick up the phone. She's sleeping. She's like, hello? I'm like, Mom, it's me. I'm okay. She's like, oh, Tim. Okay, thank you. What's up? I'd be like, hey, I'm hanging out with my friends, and they want to know what happened to my head. And she goes, you got bit in the head by a shark, honey. And they hang up.
Amazing.
Everybody be like, oh my God, I told you it was true. So my mom was in on it, and that just kept the story going for years.
The one
Oh,
podcast
so
where
awesome.
Tim Macy comes clean.
This was, I mean,
Oh, is this like? Oh,
but I'm at a
wow.
point in my life where I'm ready to come clean,
Okay. So we're really glad that we could be the place of that breaking news.
Yeah,
of
for
the,
real.
the truth
Right.
of Tim
The
Macy's
truth.
You just
Right.
felt
Tim.
so comfortable here.
Now I'm thinking about all the
ease.
people that don't know it's not true. And
So
if
is
they
there
do,
any
okay.
reference to the
They'd
shark
have
attack?
to. They'd
Like,
have to actually listen to the show, though, Tim. So you're probably safe.
I already know what the
Hope
thumbnail's
podcast
going to
ends
be.
up like mine, and nobody actually listens to it.
No, right?
have you referenced this shark attack like in business at all?
Oh
Like,
yeah.
at
No.
any point,
That's how
was
he's
there a
gotten all his
story?
listings.
Yeah.
I didn't know if it
Well,
was
no,
like
what's-
maybe part of the bio, like shark attack survivor.
He kind of mentions it in like passing every now and then, and people just don't know if it's. They'll like look at him and be like, "What?" And then he just kind of keeps going. That's how it's mentioned in business.
What's funny is it just takes on a life of its own. Like Ray brings it up. I don't bring it up. Like other people bring it up, and then I attempt to say, "Hey, it's a traumatic experience. I don't really like talking about it." And most people have the decency to be like, "Oh, okay, yeah, never mind then."
Yeah, we established that I do not bring the classy element to this podcast.
That's true.
Contrary to what everybody thought.
Despite what looks, no.
We brought her in thinking she was going to be the adult in the room, and it has backfired horribly.
But I keep you guys organized, so there's that.
So when did you start real estate?
Wait, I wanted to find out how he actually got the scar.
Oh,
now that we know the fake
that's the real
story.
Traumatic experience.
Oh, well, if I tell you, then I can't make up another story.
He's got to really make up another one.
I'll let you have that one.
All right, no, so it's actually really exciting.
Now, is this going to be the real one, or is this going to be the beginning of the new made-up?
The beginning of the new Macy tale.
Maybe you'll realize why. Maybe you'll realize why I made up the shark story. So
he stepped outside of his house on ice and went.
Yeah. So embryo Tim, when I was back in my mom's belly, I'm chilling, I'm growing, doing my thing, but I had the umbilical all hooked up to my thing and living life, and I guess my head was pretty big. And so, comes time to make my appearance to the world. And,
I like how you turned your head sideways.
Down the canal. I'm going, coming to meet my mom out of her. Yep.
Got it.
And so I got stuck. Like my head got stuck. It was too big. It wouldn't fit through the old birth canal. And so it got squished. My head's
How big was your head?
It's answering a lot of questions for you guys of why I am who I am.
Yeah.
And then, so I couldn't get out. I was squished. And so they had to do a C-section and they grabbed my feet. They pull me out. But when they pull me out, my head is like this. Like I got this like squished head. My father and his friends used to call me hatchet head because it looked like somebody took a hatchet and just like, went on my forehead. So I always had this long bowl cut covering it up. I always had the bowl cut, which was a great era for the bowl cut to be around. Yeah. I don't know what I would have done if it wasn't a thing. And then at some point, I got some surgery where they just like took out the extra skin there and made it look decent. So
I have no idea if that's a real story or not.
Was how my head got that way.
Okay.
Nice.
I think I like this story better than the shark.
Yeah. This is.
So is it actually a scar or is it just a big wrinkle?
Who knows?
Well, it's a scar from where they like took out the wrinkles.
I got you.
I still got some wrinkles on my head. When I was in the Air Force and I shaved it, it was awful.
Oh, really? Yeah. You could see it.
Yeah. You probably got an ugly bald head, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a consideration you have to make before you.
Yeah, I will not be doing the Ray Allen. I will be getting the micro plugs or whatever it is. However, I got to do.
Well, that's I have a beard because without a beard, I look like a volleyball on a neck. It's a very round head. So I got a beard, so it elongates the face. So it's not like just a round volleyball on a neck.
Have pictures of this anywhere?
Dude, I love I've seen them. They're amazing.
Oh.
Hey,
Can we get AI to get the picture for us? If you
speaking of pictures, what do you got?
I'm gonna try to show Tim's video.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Does it have you clobbering your 8-year-old?
No,
cut that part out.
It was after I was kicking the kids. I had to, I had to film it.
Yeah,
but it was the best.
Cool. There it is. Okay, I got it now. Here it is. So this is the room. You see him running around the room.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty wild.
There's Alice.
She's hiding.
Behind a wall. Figured out. I'm just gonna sit tight right here. Oh,
that's so cool. Where you can see that they see each other.
Mm-hmm.
That's so funny.
Does everyone
do the marks on the floor?
Each other, but they're on opposite sides of a wall, so they don't see each other.
Do the marks on the floor correspond with what's happening on the virtual reality? See the marks? Are those maybe that's how the software tracks it.
Mm.
No, because that person just ran through.
No, that's not where the walls are, but maybe the software tracks.
Maybe they're just reference points or something.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That would make sense.
Yeah.
It looks like a hotel lobby that's been like converted into this?
So in Switzerland, we were in Interlaken, which is like this really cute little village. And there was this whole theme park there that was like abandoned, emptied. And there was this one VR thing in it, and that was it. And I looked it up, and it was like the Ancient Aliens guy made like an Ancient Aliens theme park and thought it could be a thing. And so you would go in there, and there's like this pyramid. And so you'd go in there'd be some history thing about Egypt, and you're like, this is cool. But then as it goes, it starts talking about how aliens built the pyramids. So
that's
you bring your
awesome.
kid to this cool theme park, and like you're going around.
History.
Yeah, the history is like, oh, aliens did this, and like aliens built the Taj Mahal or something. Like, I don't know, just.
Do they play Stargate while you're there?
Yeah, well, needless to say, it's like out of business, and nothing is there except this one little VR thing. It was really
a conspiracy theory museum would be phenomenal. Like where it's a regular museum, but it takes all the conspiracy theories and begins to just tie them together. That would.
But it would have to, if it like branded itself as a conspiracy theory museum, I think it would do well. If it branded itself as like
just a
kids'
museum.
history museum,
right?
But then pulled a bunch of conspiracies.
That would be phenomenal.
But see, they would never let that happen.
They
would never let the conspiracies out like that.
You could have a whole flat Earth section. Moon landing reenactments that you could do with your friends.
What's Tim got?
Oh, do you have a moon landing reenactment on the wall?
No, I think that's like a what's the thing? What's the thing? It's just a bunch of old guys, but they make it seem like it's a big conspiracy thing.
What?
It's not the Freemasons.
Yeah.
I think that's like a Freemason sword from my great grandfather. But
you're not a Freemason.
Cracks me up because they're like Freemasons are this thing with the Illuminati, right?
Yeah, Illuminati. Yeah.
But you know what? That conspiracy lives on the fact that you don't actually ever go talk to someone who's a Freemason.
Right.
Yeah, because
if you do,
handshake and everything.
But if you do, you realize you'll be like, oh, this is a bunch of old people. Like,
that's what they want you to think, Tim.
They're not taking over anything.
This is the ruse. This is just the ruse that they want you to think.
They're just the gatekeepers. The real shit happens down below in the basement.
No. Yeah. That's the way to debunk a conspiracy, is to like actually go meet the people that they say are taking over the world.
Mm-hmm.
And then we never see you again, and we miss out on all of these cool stories, Tim.
Yeah, it just becomes Ray's Tuesday instead of Tim and Ray's Tuesday.
I know you're creeping in on it too. Like I saw, he switched the name to Tim and Ray's. Now it's Ray and Tim's.
He did. I like it.
Yeah,
he did.
I know
Isn't
you're
that
making
you?
That's not me. That's Rafe, his assistant. His assistant likes me better, probably.
Oh.
Everybody likes you better.
Yeah.
You should have seen the letdown. You weren't on the call last week, and everybody's face is on. I'm like, hey, Ray's not with us today. And I was like, but you know how you can feel expression through a Zoom call? It was rough.
Well, that's not. It was the people logging off is what did it, Tim.
Like, oh, 70 people are here. Oop, 42 people are here. Okay.
So, speaking of masterminds, there's a couple of questions that we can get into. But you have a different philosophy on masterminding than I do. You want to talk about how you plan your masterminds?
Like 4 minutes before?
Yeah. So Tim's been doing this for years, right? So Tim's like, hey, Ray, can you help me with these mastermind on Tuesday? Because I'm showing up, we're having some fun. And he was like, hey, why don't you just kind of help me out with it? I'm like, all right, cool. So
Take ownership of it with me, Ray.
I was like, what are we going to talk about? He's like, I don't know. We'll figure it out. Okay. So we do several masterminds together with Tim figuring it out like 10 minutes beforehand. And they're good. Like people enjoy them. But I think it's because the longevity in the business, like there's not too many topics that we couldn't talk about for an hour and get some kind of value out, because we've both been in the business a long time. And so it was easy to plan those because there was no plan. And so I'm like, now like pushing him to do like weeks ahead of time. But Tim, you've been doing this. You've been doing those masterminds long before I got involved.
Yeah.
You were doing them with the previous brokerage and all that kind of stuff. Have you always been that like, let's just do it and figure it out?
I do my best work when I'm building the plane when it's in the air. Like that's where I'm at my best. Like we do the video blueprint, right? So Katie is 1000% the op side, preparing side for that thing. And then the chaos of the actual day and the day before, and like, oh my God, the tables aren't there and somebody's here and we're sold out and they want to buy a ticket and like this thing, like that's where I thrive. I love that. I love like making those quick decisions and just figuring out the stuff in the moment. I'm awful at planning something 6 months away. Like that's, yeah. I literally like I almost threw up when I just said plan something 6 months away. Like I can't. Like, it's just not in the core.
Is your wife a planner?
Yeah. So
she texts me more often than you do, I think.
Stress of
that's how you get the information.
Change. She
Yeah,
doesn't. Right. So like she definitely is better at the planning thing. Like we take these trips. Well, we'll show up to Switzerland. We'll find somewhere. We'll figure it out. It'll be an adventure. And yeah, she actually would like to have a reservation somewhere.
Mm-hmm. It's probably smart.
Yeah.
Now so is it staying in a hostel?
Is it the process of planning, or do you just not like having the restrictions of a plan? Because I don't like to actually plan, but I do like to have like guardrails or something, even though we don't do it on this podcast. But
yeah, I don't want to. Sometimes I talk about this stuff and it sounds weird. Like I'm not like a
you're in a safe space.
You know, some people have their like quartz stones in The Secret, and like they're grounding themselves in their vibes of everything. Like I don't know. It's just, you know what I'm talking about?
I feel like we're joining a cult.
I know.
Little bit. Yeah, a little Freemason action.
A little Freemason action. Like I'm not big on the Secret and all that stuff, but like I do believe in a flow state where you are at your peak in like what you're good at and everything, in that flow state when you're just rolling on what you're good at, you know? And that's where I'm rolling at what I'm good at, is in the chaos, is figuring it out, is making it happen. Like I'm not in my flow state when it comes to planning the things out on the spreadsheet and doing the stuff. It's just, it's like when somebody called me for help writing a contract. My wife will write that contract in 8.5 minutes and look at it, knock it out. I will stare at that thing for 20 minutes, right? And then I'll think about something else and be like, wait a second, where is that addendum? Where do I find that addendum? When did they actually write that addendum? Is that still the addendum? Was it Terry Norris behind it? Right? And then I'm like Googling, when did the temporary leaseback addendum go into effect? Oh, I'm interested. And it's like 45 minutes later, I haven't done anything. Because it's just not like what I'm good at doing, you know?
Have you and your wife always been in real estate together, or were you doing it first and then she joined you later on?
She
or
joined me. Yeah, she joined me later on. This is probably a good example. One, we were like broke. It's funny looking back. I don't know if you guys were ever broke, but you're kind of like, how the heck do we even survive? And so I was out doing stuff and I was getting some level of traction. And she knew I had closed like some deals because obviously I had spent all the money like a good real estate agent does. As soon as you know, day before it was going to close, we were out buying stuff. But anyways, she's like, hey, like we haven't gotten checks for those 2 closings. Okay, like I don't know why. And so she had to go through my email, find out some document I didn't submit or something I did. And so from there on out, she started like checking the documents, and then she started looking at contracts for me because my clients would call me and say, hey, you missed a box. I was like, honey, can you just look at this contract for me? So she may have been doing contract review when she wasn't licensed, possibly, allegedly.
Nice.
And then eventually she just was doing it all, so she got her license.
That makes sense, because I'm listening to you talk about like where you thrive in the chaos and everything, but we all know that like to have a business that is sustainable and is going to continue growing and move on, you have to have a certain level of organization. But that's not always our strong suit, right?
Or find someone.
Or find someone who can do it for you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or find a model where you don't have to be as organized.
That's true.
Right.
That is true. That does help. Yeah. So it sounds like you like being in the fight, but you were a fighter growing up. Golden glove, right?
Well, silver gloves. Yeah, it's like
silver gloves. Okay.
For the uninitiated, what's the difference?
Yeah.
Well,
being me, what do these boxing terms mean?
You know,
there you go.
Oh wow, brings out a belt and everything.
Right.
Those don't
Let
look
me
like
tell
gloves.
you, me and my little Hulkamania. You just got to do it with the belt on your
So,
shoulder.
1999, 11-year-old Tim Macy won a national boxing title. And so like when the kids, you had the silver gloves, and then when you hit like 18 or 19 or something, it was the golden gloves.
Well,
There you go.
congratulations.
Yeah.
Silver
And I
glove
still got the
champion.
belt. It's my crowning achievement in life.
What
So I
stopped
know-
you from progressing into the Golden Gloves?
I peaked at 11. That's what it was.
That was it.
What caused the peak? Was it, did you take a beating from somebody, or you just decided it was no longer something that you wanted to take that seriously, and it was more of a hobby?
It was kind of like the podcast.
And the
It's
rabbit.
Won a national title. I figured this thing out. I'm pretty good at boxing. So let
What's
me go get
next?
distracted.
Yeah.
Let's, God forbid we follow through and keep doing something we're good at. Let's not do that.
You lost interest. You reached the point that you wanted to go, and then you're like, all right, let's do something new.
Well, yeah. And if we're sticking on the boxing thing, boxing is interesting. Like I got a ton of life experience from it. It's helped me out a bunch. It's a great thing to know. But I've always been pretty good at having good perspective and like seeing the big picture. And the big picture was commit your life to boxing, be a pro boxer, and this tiny percent of people made a career out of it, and this larger percent of people left with some brain damage and some good stories, you know?
Yeah.
And so like I think I kind of knew enough to know that I like it, I want to stay in it, but I don't want to make a career out of it.
In boxing, didn't you have to plan to take on these opponents and stuff like that? Or were you at 11? Is it pretty much like, no, you just have to punch more?
Yeah, I had my father and a coach who just beat my ass every day. So
it's just really
plenty of
conditioning.
planning. It wasn't. I didn't have to do it. You know.
But did they
You're
like
just
come up
watching
with game
tapes of
plans
his-
with the opponents and all that kind of stuff?
At 11?
Yeah.
We were doing that.
Like I did not have abusive parents, but just the nature of the sports.
Yeah.
All right, you're getting in sparring like some kids doing their work for them. You know. So sorry. Man, when you're a kid, you're going to these tournaments, like you don't know who you're fighting. You got like you got usually 8. There's 8 people in the bracket when you get out to nationals. So it's not like you're game planning for a certain person because you don't know who you're getting in there against. I guess this is a business metaphor, but what you had to do was like make sure you were at a peak for your stuff. So I was tall and lanky. I had a really good jab. And so I needed to make sure like I had a shotgun jab that was in great shape, that I could like out jab the crap out of any of these kids. And then there was this little scrappy dude from California where he was a banger. And so like he had to make sure that he could do what he did the best. And so, yeah, I mean, I think it was just making sure you were at a top level so you could perform against anybody, which honestly, not that it's easier. That's a stupid thing to say, but there is something easier about the pro fight game where you're just training for one person.
One
so
fighter.
I get to like study Rick Gonzalez, his every move, and like know exactly what I'm getting into. When you're a kid, you're going to these tournaments, you have no idea. Like all of a sudden, this kid nobody's ever heard of comes out of Brooklyn, New York, and he's just taking people's heads off, like putting people on stretchers every time. And you're like, do I want to win my next fight and have to fight that guy? I don't know. You know,
I'm sure there's not like a lot of tape on these, 10, 11-year-olds that are coming to these tournaments, so you can't really prepare.
Well, now it's different though, because they do. They all
I was
follow each
fixing to
other.
say now they do.
Yeah.
You know?
Back in the day, we're old, so back in the day.
Back in the day.
My parents did opposition research for me when we were in martial arts. They would be able to tell me what the guy likes to do, and hey, like he really loves the round kick. Be sure you get close to him before he does, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, there was some of that. Yeah. But overall, like not as much as you can when you're when you know who you're fighting.
That's funny. That was one of the things that surprised me about you the first time I met you, Tim, was that you're taller than I expected. You seem short on camera.
I got like Tom Cruise vibes, huh? I look like
no, Tom seems taller on camera
not
and is shorter.
Short.
You seem short on camera, but you're taller in real life.
What do you mean by that, Ray?
He was taller. The first time I met him, I was like, oh, taller than I thought he would be.
When you first met Tim, Bex, did you think he was that tall?
Well, I don't know that I'd seen him before. So yeah, I thought he was that tall when I first met him.
I never formulated an opinion.
Yeah. Never formulated an opinion on his height?
No.
No.
I mean, it is a thing, though. It is funny, this virtual world, when we go meet people in person.
Yeah.
That's always my big thing. Like Jeremy, I thought is way taller than I thought. I thought he was a little short, fat dude. And
Jeremy
then,
Knight?
yeah,
Yeah.
Oh.
when I first met him,
He's not even
idea
fat
he got
Did
anymore.
you realize Trey was like 5'2"?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he kind of.
You could tell that one.
A lot of Tom
Okay.
Cruise vibes there.
Yeah, I love that dude.
Napoleon.
What do you got to get him on the show? He's a good one.
Somebody may have him already booked, but we don't know because it's a secret, Tim. So stop. Nobody knows. That's the gag here.
Nobody knows.
All right.
So Tim, what was your first job?
My first job. I mean, I had my dad had some guy that was building a house and he had me go like clean up stuff on the work site. I mean, I guess one of my first jobs was I washed cars at my mom's Mercedes dealership. So she worked worked in the office at a Mercedes dealership, and I was in high school, and they needed somebody to wash cars, and so I was washing cars, and I'm pretty good at weaseling my way around. So I did a mediocre job at it, and then I would wash the cars, and then the guy that drove them to the people's house would pick them up for me, and he would go, and then for some reason, that guy didn't show up. It's like, grab some other guy. That guy didn't show up. And I could tell they were a little hesitant, but they were like, hey, do you want to drive the cars? I'm like, 17, 18. And so I was like, yeah, sure. So I end up being a driver for Mercedes. I'm driving like brand new, SLs and stuff, like a madman flying on the highway because somebody had to, make sure it was running well.
Of course.
I can't believe I never got arrested or didn't get in trouble, but I was driving cars for
as he's
Ferris
telling this
Bueller's
story,
vibes.
I'm picturing that scene from what's the Marvel movie with the 10 rings where he's the valet and they get in, they're just like calling at.
Well, what would happen is so Connecticut, southeastern Connecticut, the corner, if you go right across the water, you got Long Island. So the way their system worked, they were like the highest rated service department near that end of Long Island. So people at the end of Long Island would get their car service at our place. But I had to drive like 4 hours down to New York City and up the island to get their car to them. Right. So I would drive a loaner out to Betty's house at the end of Long Island. Soon enough, Betty would come out. She's like 90 years old and hand me the keys to a beautiful SL 65 AMG with like 40 miles on it. And I felt bad for the car.
Because what you were about to do to it.
The way it deserved to be driven. And so I felt like I had one ride to make that car feel good about itself. And so that's what I was doing.
You made those cars' lives.
Somebody has to.
Somebody has to.
We don't think about our cars enough.
Why
Ray,
were they
what was your first
driving
job,
4 hours?
It was some glitch in the system,
So then what'd you do?
Oh, I waited tables. We
Kinda.
When I was in college, we were on Craigslist, and my buddy and I were like, what if we just like moved to California? And so we drove to Monterey, California, which is a weird place to go because it's like nothing's really there. I mean, there's Pebble Beach Golf Club. I mean, golf course. Like there's some stuff, but not a ton. Like we didn't go to LA or anything, but it looked interesting on a map. And we got on Craigslist and found some apartment, a 1-bedroom apartment. And we drove out there, and I just found a job at a restaurant waiting tables. 2 restaurants.
You worked 2 restaurants? Hustling.
Yeah, I worked like 7 days a week. All I did was work, made more money than I ever had before. We had 3 of us living in a 1-bedroom apartment. And then one of the guys that was living with us went nuts on mushrooms and never saw him again.
You never saw him again?
That's like you never saw. That's mirroring. Okay, I know what you're doing there. So anyway,
dive in. She's gonna dive in as soon as there's the avenue.
So we had this one buddy who just like it just wasn't working out for him. Like my roommate and I, we both got jobs, and the first week we were there, we're rocking and rolling. He like went to Denny's, washed dishes, and quit, and then he like tried to get a job at a gas station, but they drug tested him, so he couldn't get a job at a gas station. Like just wasn't, like drop me anywhere. We'll figure something out. Not everybody is like that. So anyways, he convinces his grandma, I think, to like send him money. And he told her that he was going to go back to school or something. Who knows? And so his grandma sends him some money. He pays us back all the rent he owes us, which is cool. The first thing he does is goes buy some mushrooms. I don't know
Obviously.
where he gets them. So I come home from work and he's sitting there on the floor eating one of his Apple headphones.
As one does when on
And
mushrooms.
watching Pink Floyd, The Wall. I
Oh.
don't know if you guys ever watched The Wall, but he was watching that. And so I find his bag of mushrooms and I hide them. I hide them up in like some random kitchen cabinet where hopefully he doesn't see him. So I go to bed, whatever, wake up the next day, go check the stash. He found it. It's gone. And so I took off. I went back home, actually. I went back to Connecticut because I found out my brother had a kid. Whole other story. And then my roommate calls me and he's like, hey, I got to go pick up my girlfriend at the airport. And I don't know what to do with our friend here. He's like writing on Post-it notes and sticking them around the house. It's like black Audi ? 2 a.m. Like he's like world's out to get him and he's taking notes on all the people that are watching him.
That's amazing.
So bring him to the airport and
You bring Mushroom Guy to the airport.
yeah, I mean, he didn't want to leave him like by himself. Like it felt like he was babysitting, right?
Amazing.
What could go wrong?
So you're like, I'm gonna put him on a plane instead and lock
No,
him with a bunch of other
I want to
people.
keep him with him, right? So they go to pick up his girlfriend. So he gets out. They're like waiting at the bottom of the escalator and stuff. And then he turns around and he's gone. Can't find him. And then he looks up and like all the planes are delayed. So now he's got delays. Okay, cool. Now none of the planes are landing. And he's like, what the hell's going on? Can't find his friend. None of the planes are landing. The mushroom dude got on the runway.
On the runway.
He
Oh
snuck
my
onto the
gosh.
runway, figured out, and he got like surrounded by a bunch of, I don't know. I don't think it was TSA, whoever, and they just tased the crap out of him.
Oh my gosh.
And they got him. But I mean, yeah, shut down the whole airport. Then after that, that's what I mean. I never saw him again because
After all of that,
Lost contact.
yeah, like I don't
really.
know. Like I am interested in what happened later on in life. I think he
That's
just
so funny.
was getting medical attention for a while.
Have you ever tried to find him on Facebook and be like, just curious?
No, not
The curiosity would have gotten me.
what if he wants
by
to
now.
buy a house?
Yeah, there you go. I don't know if you want to help everyone.
I did message actually today one of my buddies from college and then realized it's been 15 years since I saw him.
Yeah. Oh
Oh
man.
my God, we're old. When did we
Did
get
he
old?
message
When
you
did that
back?
happen?
All of a sudden,
Y'all are old. Speak for
turning
yourselves.
50 this year, guys. 50.
Wow. You look good for
Yeah.
50.
Did you say I look over 50?
You look good for 50.
Oh,
You're at that
okay.
age.
I was
No,
like,
you look
shit.
good for 50.
No, you're like
Now
one
for
of
like
those.
49,
like you
I
can-
don't know, but for
you
50,
can-
it's good.
Yeah, you can like put your picture up and be like, 50's the new 30. Sexy Rick Gonzalez. 50
I don't know about that.
You still
Put your new
feel, even if you
headshots.
don't look 50, you still feel 50. Trust me.
Yeah.
Have to. You can make a choice. You can make a choice to not feel 50.
Says only people who are not 50.
Right?
Just saying, healthy living.
Oh, I
Mind
still
over
feel.
matter.
Everyone has an age that they still feel. What's your age that you still feel you are?
Who, me?
Like, yeah.
I don't know. I feel like I'm 27.
Okay. Rick, what are
So?
you?
I don't probably like 37, 38.
37.
Late
Oh,
30s
older.
was good.
Wow. I still feel like I'm 23. Like I feel like I can do the same things. I feel like I'm just as athletic. I'm not, but I feel like it.
Yeah, it was good for me. I went and sparred with some guys this summer, and it was good self-awareness. Like I'm not bad. Like I stayed in good shape. Like I'm not unhappy with myself, but I'm definitely not 22.
Yeah.
It's always the
Still
recovery.
mentally, I feel like it.
It's the recovery time that just gets longer.
God.
Like you can still do the things, You could probably still go box or go run a marathon or whatever, but the recovery after said event
And the warm up
is going
before.
to be 10 times longer.
You're not just
I
at the
noticed in-
speed. I'm just
thinking
not
of-
like
Oh,
reaction times. Like they're punching me in the face, and I'm thinking about like mission checks. I just got more on my mind. I'm just older now. Like I just have
Mission
more
checks.
Leaps and bounds.
more in my
They
mind.
punch you in the face and you think, was that worth it? No. What's the value of that hit?
Well, it's funny. Like when you think about when you're younger, you just had so much less crap in your mind. It's like a computer that's hard drive is filled up, right? When you're young, like that hard drive is wide open and your mind can just focus on stuff better. Now I've got 36 years of crap in my brain. Like
Right.
it doesn't work all the time.
You have to move all that around in order to say dodge. It's got to go through a lot before you're like, move your head. Okay.
But you guys all have those moments where like a friend or significant other is talking to you and they just realize that you are on a completely different planet mentally.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's just ADHD.
Yeah, but I feel like that
like
happens
every
a lot
other
more
minute.
as I get older. I feel like it happens a lot more as I get older.
Tim's having a lot of Biden moments.
I'm so sorry.
Man, I got to be honest. This whole time, Ray, I've been looking at your screen, wanting to just sniff that back of your neck. You know.
Well, yeah, that is a Biden moment. Joe
I'm
Biden.
like,
For
where
sure.
are we going with this?
Just want to rub your shoulders and just see what it smells like. Just curious.
He did just shower before the show, so
I did. I'm very
just
clean.
for that moment.
Yeah.
You can't touch this.
And this isn't political either. We don't like any of them, so it's fine.
It's true.
No, they
You could have used who's the other guy? Mitch McConnell.
Oh gosh.
the glitch.
Yeah, the glitch. Glitch
Multiple
McConnell.
glitches.
Glitch McConnell.
Yeah.
Oh,
Listen, I'm not like.
Yeah.
I think the only thing that I would like to see in politics is just younger people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like I was just saying, as I get old, my brain stops working as well. Like I can't imagine those guys.
There was a comedian that was talking about all the developments in the West and about everything that has happened and all this stuff. And he was just going through like long history, telling this long history story of everything that happened. I think it was since 1937. And he said in 1936, Dianne Feinstein was born or whatever the year was. Like that was the whole, like he talking about all this stuff that happened, all the developments and everything that changed. She was born a year earlier. And everyone's like, whoa.
Yeah.
That's
Out of
crazy.
respect for our elders, we need to let them retire. Let them move into their golden years and take a break.
And the thing is, too, is like the AI stuff and technology, it plays such a role. And you just can't expect them to be able to comprehend and understand.
Now they're trying to regulate it.
Yeah, they're supposed to regulate
1933.
That. Yeah, it's like it's funny, you know, being in the business where we are at our age, or I'll talk to some people who've been in the business for a while, and you can just tell there's certain things about a new way of doing things that they can't comprehend.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they just like they've just been too ingrained in their previous position and perspective that it's hard to comprehend this new stuff over here. And it's not a knock on anybody that's older in politics. It's just that like that perspective, it's just hard to comprehend this new stuff.
Well, you know, they've got
desire.
30 something years to go through to move to say dodge. It's the same. It's the same thing. It's just a different item, right? They have to, there's a lot that they have to process and consider. There's a lot that they have to go through more so than us in our young days.
Well, it inspires me to invest and save because I do not want to be trying to figure out life when I'm very much older. Because I know the world's going to change and I'm just not going to get it. I'm going to do my best, but I'm going to be the guy that's 60, 70, like having no idea what the heck these kids are talking about.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping I invest enough where I'm good to go by the time that happens.
I mean, I can't even imagine being 50. Ugh, golly, you know.
Hey, as long as I look like Rick when I'm 50, that's all I care about.
You know, so here's my thing on that though. Like, I feel like, because I was one of those kids who I played with like the OG like video game.
Yeah.
Like Pong, right?
Yeah.
And then I had my Commodore 16, then my Commodore 64, Atari, got into like the gaming console. So I've come from 13-inch black and white TV in my room, and that was it, with 3 channels, right? Me being the remote. And I've had to learn all this different technology along the way. So I've kind of gone through the whole spiel. Some of these people that are older than me, like the ones in DC, they can't comprehend. Like they're still, I mean, watching those guys when Zucks was up there, that just made my head hurt. Right. I mean, they just don't get it. I think like our generation, probably being the older end of that. We've been through so much. We've had to adapt. Some of those guys, they just haven't had to.
Yeah.
But
Well,
you
it's
know,
like
what I think the
my
equivalent
grandfather
is?
could never drive over 50, right? He was never going to drive over 50 because it was so fast. His brain couldn't comprehend it. But, we drive like 80 and 90 because that's the traffic and that's the flow of the traffic.
Well,
But
and we
that's
have
also
speed belts too.
Well, that's also
Like-
because we started driving when we were 16 and he started driving when cars were invented.
Yeah.
So that's if something comes out and it's brand new and you're older, you're at a huge disadvantage. Where if you're a kid, our kids are going to be able to tell the difference in an artificially intelligent generated video with fake audio, while we're going to look at it and go, whoa, that looks real. Our kids are going to be like, nah, that's artificial. And here's how you can tell, because they're growing up with it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's
That's
going to be a huge adaptation for our generation moving forward, I think.
That's what I was going to say is you mentioned, growing up with Pong. It's like, that's like our kids growing up with ChatGPT.
Yeah.
They're like, oh yeah, I remember when ChatGPT came out. That's how old I am.
Right.
Yeah.
They're going to be native growing up in that. But that, Ray, you're right. That will be the thing that I know I'm officially old, is when I'm in the back seat of a car and like my daughter's driving and I'm like, oh my God, she's going so fast.
Or
that's
no one
when I
is
know.
driving.
Because when I look back
yeah.
at my mom or my in-laws, like they're always terrified whenever I'm on the highway.
It'll be the first time they pick you up in their personal plane
flying
or
car.
flying saucer or whatever. That's a big deal.
Look, as long as
vehicle.
I'm not crying in the back seat because of how fast they're going, I won't consider myself.
You'll be wetting your pants back there.
But be totally normal by then.
Right.
Before we go, do you want to tell people how you met your wife?
Sure.
I don't think everyone knows.
I mean, I don't know. So,
and the job you had when you were.
This will be the teaser for the whole episode to
Okay.
get them to watch all the way through.
Wait, you know though, right?
How I know? That's why I'm asking the question.
Yeah, you know all the things. So I was a doorman at a nightclub,
AKA bouncer. That's what that was.
No, I was a doorman. Okay, you graduate from bouncer.
Doorman is sophisticated.
Oh, okay.
I ran the front door. Okay, I was a manager during the day.
There you go.
You got to wear a button up.
Really offended, by the way.
Still got to punch people in the face though.
Well, no, it was in a casino, and there was a lot of like cops around, so you had to be really careful what you did. But anyways, where am I going?
Raise eyes when you said that.
Love it.
I meet Pon. That's right. So I'm a doorman, and I don't know. You're always like talking to people and stuff, and so I had gone to middle school with her sister, and I was like, oh, I remember that girl from middle school. And I'm like, oh, that girl she's with is cute. And I'm like, hey, you wanna cut the line? And so that's always like the big boss move, cut the line. There were like 4 people in line, but they did not have to wait in front of them. So and it was her birthday. She just turned 21. And I was like, yeah, no, you guys come in for free, da da da. And so she went in. And then she comes out and we like make eye contact, my wife and I, and I'm like, so she comes over to me and she goes to give me $20. She's going to tip me. Now, I don't know if you know this, but women do not tip the door guy. Like that's not how dudes tip the door guy to try to get in the club. Women do not. And I just bought like this cheap suit from TJ Maxx,
Nice.
and the pockets were all sewn shut. And so she's trying to put the money in the pocket.
It's
just
not even
working.
opened up yet. That's
phenomenal.
phenomenal.
And so I'm like, man, I gotta get her number, right? Like, I don't know, this is 2009. So it wasn't automatically just connect on Instagram. I don't know what the kids do these days. But anyways, I had to get her phone number. But I had just had a little escapade of my own the weekend before, got drunk, threw up, dropped my iPhone in the toilet, and now it didn't work. And so I had to go get a Boost Mobile flip phone. And I didn't want to take out my flip phone to try to get her number. That was like a no-go. Yeah. So I was like, hey, they don't let me keep my phone at me while I'm working. I'll just tell you my number. So I told her my number, and she forgot it. And so I never heard from her.
Perfect.
And so she comes back, and I'm like, whatever. This chick never called me. And then she actually called the wrong number or texted the wrong number, and they said it wasn't Tim. And so now she's like, oh, this guy pretended he didn't know me when I texted him. So
Oh, wow.
automatic animosity. But once we got proximity, it was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna marry this girl. So I gotta get her name. But it's so easy for me because I check IDs, right? It's like easy day.
Oh, yeah.
So I
It's just a
grab her
very
ID.
easy name.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I'm like, what the PHONEPHANH. And I'm like, all right, well, good. Have a fun time. You know, I'll catch you later. And then I don't know, I found somebody else that knew her, was friends with her, ended up getting her number, ended up talking to her, and I was like, you want to get married? And she was like, yeah. I was like, well, we got to go to Disney World first, but
So how'd you find out her name? Did you wind up asking her, or you talked to someone else to get her name?
yeah.
Oh,
Somebody
okay.
knew her,
All right.
and I figured it out. But it was funny.
That's good.
And then and then this one was, oh, I don't think she'll get mad at me for this. This is
This is the perfect story
Tell
for the
it.
show.
Tell it.
no, it was so bad. I mean, I feel like we were dating, and her cousin was in the back seat, and I just gave her a hard time about something, and she was like, "Well, how do you spell her first name?"
Oh.
And
And I didn't remember.
I missed it. I missed a letter.
Oh, no.
And we were like engaged. Like we were.
That's phenomenal.
No.
So I made a song in my head, so I never forget.
What's the song?
Yes, sing the song.
Created
Oh,
a
it's just like a
ditty.
melody, you know. It's like PHONEPHANH. You know. So,
It's catchy.
yeah.
That's so good.
Oh,
I didn't know that last part. That's good.
no.
Yeah.
I know a lot about you, Tim, but I didn't know about the song.
All right. There you go. See, Ray's just asking questions he knows the answer to.
It's true.
Well, we've all learned a lot today.
I've learned so
know I have.
much.
Mm-hmm.
So the
How to get
Arkansas
an A.
pirate joke didn't land at all.
No, it got me. I thought it was hilarious. These
I knew it. As soon as he
These
said
guys
Tim,
were
I was
here.
like, oh, that's his joke.
I'm not good with geography jokes because I'm not good with geography. So
Well, it's more the
was
it's more the spelling.
It's
R-
more the spelling
Arkansas.
of the state.
Oh.
Arkansas.
Kansas is right
Arkansas.
below Arkansas, and it's just like Arkansas is how you spell Arkansas.
See, I thought you were
She
saying
even missed the joke.
our Kansas. Like there was another
Our.
Kansas and yeah.
Arkansas.
Wow.
But Ray,
Oh.
why is that not true?
Because Arkansas was a state in 1836.
Yeah, so it's actually
Kansas
our
became a
Kansas is
state
actually
in
better than your
1861.
Yeah.
So it
Oh.
should be Kansas, technically.
Kansas. There you
Because
go.
we were a
There you
state
go.
first.
See?
Kansas.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not even proper phonetics.
Well, it is if you're respecting the Indians and.
Are we going to dive into the English
I'm
language
just
and
saying,
how ridiculous it is?
Kansas
No,
is disrespectful to the tribe.
if we're gonna dive into all that, we're gonna have to have Tim back for another episode.
I know that part two.
You guys
We'll
Part
talk
two.
about all of the other things.
I'm pretty self-aware. I don't think you guys are having me back.
True.
You know,
I don't think
I
we'll
would-
have any repeat
I
guests
think
on
we get you back again just to see if you can come up with another story for how you got the scar.
there. That's right.
Yes.
Oh, no. I had one where I got in a fight and somebody hit me with a cinder block, like right across the head.
That's good.
And because it's all about the details. Like, so if I have the details of like how I was
more
sitting,
believable.
standing over the guy, and like the fact that I scuffed my new shoes and I looked down at him, and that's when the guy hit me. Like, if you have the small details, people believe it for sure.
I've learned that Tim is a really, really good liar.
I don't want to
So takeaway
agree
for
with
the
you.
day.
And then we're going to end right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Doo-doo-doo, outro music.
Here, I'll put it. Tim's
Look.
a really good storyteller.
But it's
Ah,
about, if you want to tell a lie, you have to convince yourself before you convince somebody else. So
That's true.
like, I'm pretty sure I could pass a lie detector test on the shark bite because sometimes
Said it
I
so
have
long for so many
flashbacks.
years. Yeah.
Like, I have flashbacks to an event that never really happened.
Yeah. Well, that's how it happens. If you
So
tell
vivid
it
in your
long
mind.
enough, your
Yeah.
brain doesn't know the difference.
Yeah.
It's true.
We talked about that in the Ninja Selling, Neurolinguistic Programming. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
But your Tim talk.
Tim, we are gonna have to wrap up, man, because we got another guest coming on soon. So
Oh, man.
That's
I'm
right.
gonna let you go, but I appreciate you coming on and sharing all of that wonderful info and all those amazing stories.
Mhm.
Lots of insight into Timmy that we didn't know, or at least I didn't.
It's mostly
did.
entertaining. So
Well,
well done.
I had a blast.
You guys got me hooked. I'm really curious to who your next guest is. So
Me too.
I'll be listening.
Yay.
Only Rebecca knows.
That's true.
Nobody.
She's had more
knows.
guests on than
Mysteries.
anybody else at this point.
I know. We gotta
Because
get
they are
with it.
slackers.
Oh, wait. Tim, do you play any musical
I'm
instruments?
carrying the podcast on my back.
I don't
No.
play anything. No.
That's not
Okay.
your theme. But my guest.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go.
But
Well,
you'll have,
Thanks for
to,
joining us,
Michael
Tim.
Bublé.
you have to wait and listen.
You're right.
What?
Michael Bublé is the next guest.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Oh, that'd be
Exactly.
awesome. I like Michael Bublé.
Your
All
name's
right,
Tim,
y'all.
Dolphin Trainer.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks,
Bye,
Tim.
Tim.
Bye.
That's
Could
fun.
like seriously listen to the stories all day long.
He has a lot
I
of good
knew
stories.
none of that stuff. So,
Really?
yeah. I mean, I don't really spend a lot of my time just being like, hey, Tim, let's sit down and have a conversation.
No?
It's true.
What do you do with your time?
I try to sell real estate.
No. Yeah,
Try.
There's that.
I keep you guys on schedule.
For the
ish.
most part.
Hey, look, that was all him. With
No,
his-
that was not
today's
me. That was the flight. That was
snafu.
the flight.
Yeah.
all him.
But I'm glad Tim's flexible.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that was good. I did know everything except the song about Tim. But we
I
go
love the
way,
song.
way back to like, man, we didn't even talk about it on the show, but we started a mastermind about video back in the day. RETV.
Yeah.
It was a Facebook group just about
Yeah.
video. And we haven't really done anything with it lately. But we were doing that. That started in a lobby in 2017 in the lobby of a Tom Ferry. We were all like, hey, let's meet in this hallway. And we thought it'd be like 5 of us. And it was like 30 people. We were like, oh, well, maybe we should do something with this.
That was back when he was doing what was what was his team? Rock House or something back then.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
That's-
when I first was introduced to Tim when he started RETV.
Yep.
I first saw Tim, I think it was about a year ago this week. It may have even been today at the Hatch Summit. He was across the room. It was during like one of our auction things. And then I met him very briefly at One Reel
Wow.
last year.
Well, there you go.
You didn't come to Blueprint at all?
I came to Blueprint, but I'm just saying like the first time that we met. Oh, I didn't
Yeah.
come to Blueprint last year. No, I came this year.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know about it. So
Well, good show. Good guest,
All right.
Rick. That was
Thanks,
fun.
guys.
It
Yep,
was.
always.
Surprise.
I
everybody.
was really looking for more like
Oh.
stuff to intro him, and then nothing.
Yeah, that's good enough for Tim. Anything you
the
would have
man
said.
who needs no intro.
Well, he
Anything
was
you
just
would have
like-
said, I would have known it.
Yeah. He was like, he says, no matter what I tell you, he says, Ray's going to know who I am as soon as you say something else. So he just gave me that Arkansas thing.
Yeah, it's corny jokes were close, but
I thought it was hilarious.